Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript party and my buddy Rhett back there, just climbing around in her cage, living her best life. Um, it's kind of weird. She looks different in my. Oh, you can't see her. It's like I'm having a. She's way back in the corner there. Um, anyways, maybe she'll climb back into the scene. Maybe she's feeling a little shy today. But anyways, yeah. So I'm uploading my video for today right now. It's gonna say it's gonna take like 60 minutes to upload and process it. Um, ever since I moved up to a larger size, everything's taken a lot longer. Like this video is like 700 megs, and before I did some adjustments to increase the quality, it used to be more like uh, 100 megs or something maybe. So they're pretty big. For some reason, I think the upload must have failed or something in the video that is supposed to go up today, which is Jan 9th. Um, so typically, I set up my videos to I upload them for 2 days from now. So like this video I'm working on, I'll be uploading it right after this video, but then I'll set the date for it to be released for the 11th. Um, so I don't know. I could have sworn that was right. Um, that I had this one, the one that's going up right now, up before, but it seems to be gone now. I don't know. Gremlins. Who knows? But anyways, so back in the previous video, I had come up with, and I went through a whole thing with ChatGPT asking about coming up with IDs, and I realized that really what I would like to have is a list of renderers in this rendering service, and then when I get a renderer, what I would like to get back is the ID for that renderer, and then I want to have like a dictionary that has a lookup of that ID to renderers. Um, and that I think will be a good thing. And then, but before I can do that, I need a way to create IDs. And way back when Angular or ChatGPT gave me this code, and this code worked out pretty good. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my packages and I'm going to give it a command to create a new service for me. And then ng UIS for unique ID service. Um, and then that is going to be a service. And instead of in 3, it's going to be in utilities. And this one is going to be, I guess I should call it recycle sequence service. Recyclable sequence service. Kind of says everything you'd want it to say. I believe the way you want to do this is put this as a lowercase, and I think it'll take care of everything else. And we do not want a comma at the end here. I believe commas at the end of lists like this is legal in JavaScript. I mean in JSON, but npm doesn't like it. So anyways, what I expect to see now is another directory here with a new utility, a utilities directory, and recyclable sequence service. So let's say pm run nguis. So what we have to be so careful with is I'm trying to figure out a way to make this abstract so that it's more um, so that it's more uh, uh, maintainable and easier to reason about. But man, you really got to keep your eye on the ball on that. It is so easy to for that to be your intention and then to end up making like a big disaster. But anyways, so let's move on and let's go to this renderer service. or let's go to our recyclable sequence service, and not to there. And so basically what we want to do is basically replace all of that with this code that ChatGPT gave me. So I guess I can't say that it's never given me more than 5 lines of code that worked. This definitely works. So that is good. So anyways, so the idea is this thing is going to return a ID every time that that it has a sequence. It's going to give me the ID. So if I ask for an ID, I think it's going to give me 1. If I ask for a second ID, it'll give me 2. And then if I say recycle, let's say I ask for a third one, it'll give me 3. And let's say I recycle the first ID, then what it'll do is it might actually give me 0 as the ID. I don't know if I want that. No, it looks like it'll give me that. It'll give me 1 as the first ID. So if I recycle it, then the next time I ask for an ID, it should give me the recycled, like 1 again, so that I don't just go on forever. Because I do think that we're going to be creating and deleting things like crazy in this, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. So anyways, so when we save that, and this is extraordinarily unit testable, right? It'll be very easy to run, create unit tests for generate ID and recycle ID, and for both. So anyways, let's see, what do we have here? Okay, so we have that. I guess it compiled, everything is happy. So basically now we want to inject this into our renderer service. So we want to create a recycle, and this is going to be across all the different things. So no two like a mesh should never have the same ID. Like they'll all be unique across everything. And that was a lesson learned in my last effort. I did try to use the ThreeJS IDs. That was a mistake for all kinds of reasons. I kept running into problems. So then I had to like shoehorn my own unique ID into things, and that was much harder than it needed to be. Inject. All right, so this is a function that is new. I believe it was in Angular 18, maybe Angular 19. And this comes from the core, and it basically so you don't have to bring in services via the constructor anymore because of this function here. And then this should just import my set thing. And so now what I want to do is get one of these IDs. So ID, and I guess it's a const. ID is equal to, and I guess I want to call generate ID, and that is a function. So we'll get an ID, and that's what I want to return. And I do want to create a dictionary of renderers. And for the moment, I'm just going to call it an any, and I'm just going to say equals this object. Now, I'm definitely want to strongly type this, but for the moment, I'm not going to. And so I'm going to say this dot renders dictionary. Oops. Render dictionary, and then the key is going to be my ID, and then I want to make the value equal to this. And then I want to return the ID. Now, this is going to break things right off the bat. So this is going to return a number, which is the key. And then I'm going to create another function that's called getRenderer for ID. And this is going to take an ID and a number. And it is going to return a 3GL web renderer. I swear one of the most embarrassing videos I have is a video in the last the last web series where I'm like so excited that every single time every time I look up one of these, or this always matched up when I said new, that the type was always the same. It was so embarrassing. So then this is going to be return renderers dictionary ID. So basically we're saving these things into our dictionary, and then we'll create one, we'll get the ID, and then we can use that ID in order to get our renderer back. I think that's a good way to go with this. It's definitely going to break the existing application when we go to use that. See, so as soon as I hit save on this, it should break everything. It is also going to trigger a bunch of unit testing. So it broke because it's like, hey, you gave me a number, you didn't give me a renderer. Okay, so basically, const ID is equal to okay, so this is a renderer ID now, right? And then and I guess we want to have our renderer, and that's F type. I think it's just, yeah. And it's upset because we didn't set that. And then I wonder if I can actually do it here. Bet you I can. I don't know. I don't know what I think of that. Did this make it any easier? Probably. It probably, like, I mean, it didn't make this specific code easier, but it's definitely going to make it's a lot easier to pass around and deal with a renderer ID and then say get renderer for ID, because then you know you're getting a renderer. It just makes the code a lot more explicit in general. Let's see if that works. Oh, I don't know if it's just being slow. Oh, it's just being slow. Okay, so voila. So now we have that. We have an ID. We have a dictionary. We can use that. That means it's not going to be that hard to have multiple renderers, and that is definitely, I think, an important part of this application, is to be able to have multiple renderers rendering in multiple divs. So that is that. So now, should this break any of our user unit tests? I do not think so. Let's see, npm run test. It is fun. I mean, doing unit tests, like especially like in this situation where I kind of started from scratch and all that, is kind of a good time. Um, oh man, oh no, it was already uploaded. Um, I just killed my browser that had my my video, but it was already uploaded. It just wasn't processed yet, so that happens on the server. So I should be good. But it is fun having unit tests when you've built them all from the beginning, and it sort of helps you really understand what's going on. Um, oh, so it did break. Interesting. Looks like we got a broken unit test. See, I'm getting better at um, dealing with this thing getting all big. It's wild how it's taking so long, though. 0 of 0 success. No specs found. Okay. That is definitely not expected. I guess because it couldn't. Oh, because. Yeah, that makes sense. So basically, what's happening is our spec file doesn't know how to. Um, our spec file doesn't of the sequence generator. So this spec file here, the renderer service spec, it doesn't, when it goes to try to create the um, when it goes to try to create the service, it like can't because it doesn't know what the sequence is, the recyclable sequences. And I don't really remember off the top of my head exactly how to do this. Service dot testbed dot inject. So I think this is basically the equivalent of like a provider's. So let's mouse over this. Um, okay, so let's ask ChatGPT. I'm starting to become very dependent on ChatGPT, which makes me a little nervous. Okay, in A2 unit test a service that uses another service, and how do I import the service with Jasmine? I think Jasmine. I think Karma is the test runner. Set up. Dependent service. So this is the like the one that you're using. Okay, so the unit test. So right here at the describe, it says this is a little different. Okay, so they're mocking the service, and I don't really want to mock the service. I mean, I don't see any reason not to use the actual service. So it looks like I want to add it as a provider. And I may end up regretting that, and that would be like kind of the whole point of doing something like this, is to kind of go through those steps. And I have to confess, I have kind of lived through this before, trying to figure these sorts of things out. So, so let's see what happens now. Okay, so a lot of places I've worked, if you hit save, cause the unit test to run again, but I guess not here. Not in this place. I think there's a flag, a watch flag that I might need to set to have it watch for changes. So I feel like that looked better off just right off the bat, although I think we're still at 0 successes. Yeah, incomplete, no specs found. Just so weird. So one of the things that, I've done, so something you end up doing a lot of times just to get things, just to sort of start to figure things out, is like commenting out each each test and then figuring out where the problem is. So okay, so I don't know. I don't know if we need to rerun it again. I think I think I might want to go into the package. Um, so we're still at no specs found. Oh, and that is not how you kill unit tests. Ooh, you're a pain in the butt. Control C. See, did ChatGPT ever come back with an answer? Okay, so it looks like I needed to change something. I guess, can you use a flag? Okay, dash dash watch. Oh, okay, dash dash watch. I believe that will have it run for everything. All right, so now let's just start to comment out like all my tests. Oh, I might need to do it in here. See, did it rerun? I can't remember if I killed it and restarted it after I added the watch. And this is when it is kind of nice to kind of go headless where there's no browser pop-up, because that does take a long time. When you're just trying to get the unit test working and trying to figure out what's broken. Okay, so we still had the same issue. Okay, so I'm going to comment out this. So what I'm going to do is move the browser off. Well, I guess I could move it into this space right here, because I think if think if I had have left the browser up, this would already be done building. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So let's find out. Move that into that spot. And then let's find our other spec. Oh, that is not the spec. Okay, is it this guy that's causing problems? No, that's not the spec. Yeah, see, that's save time. Your generated has no export any service. Okay, so that's a silly. Service. And I do not like that. Like, oh, I got rid of too many services. I don't really like having service as the name. And I don't know. I guess it's because I named it in the package. Let me go back and do that. See, I shouldn't have had the word service in there. So I'm just going to remove it there. It is a bit misleading because I did not run it this way, but I think it's important. Okay, so 0 specs, 1 failure. It's very upset. Let's just get rid of this. Did you mean recyclable service? Oh, yeah, there's 2 of them. Boy, that just keeps biting me. Okay, so render spec. So it does not. I guess it just doesn't like that. Maybe. And then let's go to our last spec file. What kind of errors we get now? Oh, everything is passing. There's some kind of crazy sort of message happening. Oh, it's because that thing is firing over and over again. I wonder if there's a console log in there. Is that what's happening here? Yeah. So it's this console log here. That's crazy. And then like I guess the console log is so far backed up now that it's just taking it forever to get to the part where it would then refresh. And I have, yeah, this. Okay, thank you. And I have seen that like where everything just locks up, because you have some kind of console log and you're trying to kill it, and that is something that will give you a pretty nice motivation to not have console logs, because like in enormous web applications you can end up with just where in your unit tests it just scrolls and scrolls and scrolls forever while you're waiting for the console logs to run. Now we should have definitely seen a drop in our code coverage. Yeah, see, like we're down to 34, 91% of these, 85% of our functions, none of our branches, and the 91% of our lines. So probably in my personal experience, it usually is a good idea to sort of start with the looking at like, okay, what lines aren't being covered, and then and sort of work your way backwards from that. So like if we go to coverage, and then we go to um, index. I don't know why I keep doing that. So we could see that like our app, everything ran in it, and in 3 it says that every line did it, but in utilities, um, like generate ID never got called more than once, and it got called. So well, length is greater than 0. Return this recycled. So I would think if we, oh, okay, so yeah, it says we called it and it did this, but if if we'd called it again, we would have gotten a second one of these, and then this line would have got called, and then this never gets called. So we'll have to definitely handle that in the unit tests themselves. Um, and then our in our 3 utilities, everything gets called because both of these functions end up getting called. But I think it would be better probably to, now that we have this, we can we can call the, we can write unit tests pretty easily, um, checking to see this, that we call this, and then that the ID, that something comes back if you give it the ID, and that, to test both of these. Um, there's no reason. It's pretty simple. This is very, very simple. And that is sort of like one of the points of writing unit tests, of having unit tests, is sort of to just drive you into this sort of direction. Um, so let's look at the real quick at the this guy. See, I think that is a good idea. I probably have kind of moved over to thinking that this was a good idea in the last year, and I think the reason I was kind of, I'm, yeah, I think it's a good idea. Um, so basically, what I'm saying is that I probably should make this private, and then I don't know if there's a good reason. Probably making that private makes sense. I think that's a little cleaner. I can't think of a good reason to make your service private, but I mean, if it's not private, then anything that implements it has access to that service. And I guess you don't want anyone generating sequences. Like someone might just, out of laziness or whatever, decide to create sequences from this guy's version of this guy's, not, it's not even a version, this guy's uh, reference to this recyclable sequence service, when they should just make their own reference. Um, I mean, people who write code just are very creative, and they like to try new things. and a lot of times I like to try new things with their work. But I do like where this is going. I think it makes a lot of sense to get an ID and then get your renderer based on that ID. It does seem like over engineered in this context, but really what I want to be able to do is have like 10 of these running side by side in their own little divs and all that. And that would be almost impossible to do with this, the way I had this, where it would just render, give you, and then give you one, you know. And not only that, but now I have this ID that I can, my animation code, if I move this animation code into its own service, like all it needs to know is what the its ID was, and then it can probably go figure out. I could probably figure out a way to make it then look and figure out how it needs to modify the scenes and stuff, and um, or any of the items like the meshes and stuff in the scenes, you know, like because it's like, oh, this is what I'm rendering. This is my scene. This is my camera. You know, like I can use that ID to sort of um, tie this thing. And I guess the renderer does sit at the top of the hierarchy. A renderer has scenes. A renderer has a scene. It has a camera. A scene has meshes. All the meshes have properties. A scene has lights. A camera has, you know, a camera is a camera. Um, so like assigning the correct camera, assigning the right scene, I can use that ID of the renderer to do that. Um, and I didn't do anything like that at all in the first version of this video, and I mean of this application, and it really did. It was pretty painful. But anyways, in the next video, we will be good little coders, and we will start writing unit tests and get ourselves back to 100% on everything, our branches, our functions, our lines, our statements. And if we can't go to 100%, we will definitely talk through it. I'm pretty sure we can get through 100%. Um, you know, it's really it's really not hard to do. It is a bit time consuming, um, but it will be very interesting a year from now, right? Like at the end of this year, we will know. We will know. We will spend a year. We'll spend 2025 doing this with. Oh shoot! Let's do our end-to-end test. Doing this with end-to-end tests, and then pm run Cypress. Um, and we'll be like, was it worth the time? Was it worth the time to do unit tests and do site and do all that? I mean, it's not like anyone's going to get fired here. It's not like there's going to be any consequences. Uh, you know, we'll learning this firsthand on whether this was a useful way to spend time. If it pays off in the long run, is a good way to spend 2025. It just is. I wish I had spent 2023 doing that, or 2021. You know, like it would be nice if all that stuff had been um, if all that stuff had been you know, if I had already learned all these lessons inside and out. But yeah, I didn't think our Cypress test would break, and I swear at work I'm just constantly like, I just want to build an application that is literally just a Cypress test that would just go through all our various UAT sites and prod sites and prod different endpoints and stuff, and just make sure everything's up and running. Um, you know, because it's just a really nice application, and you know, if literally it seems like it'd be just so simple to just have it go and hit a couple dozen endpoints, um, and just, you know, give me the validation, or you know, even have it do it headless and just take photos of everything, and just double check that they all work. Because basically, when I go to work now, what I do is one of the very first things I do every morning is I just go check like 10, 15 different places. But anyways, I bet you this is 40 minutes. I got an F. I think it's an F. Yeah, I got an F. Just barely too. I wish I'd have noticed this like 2 minutes ago. I could have got a D. I could have got a passing grade. But and it does go to show that it does take a long time to do unit tests. And you know, but having them running, I don't think we'll have that problem again. Um, I don't know if this was even. I'm curious if that was even necessary. It seemed like okay. I have to find out. Was this actually necessary? Um, because that's the thing is a lot of times when you work in a place, everybody will somebody will do something like that, and then next thing you know, it just ends up in every single unit test. Hundreds and hundreds of unit tests. They all have some sort of thing that you never needed. Yeah, so we did not need to inject the service, at least to do this um, in the renderer. It can bring it up, and it'll be truthy. If we want to do anything, we'll need to have like if we want to create a function that uses that, it'll probably break. But for now, I do not want to add it unless I actually need it because I really do want to understand this stuff. Um, and I already had enough, so there was no reason to hurry. Um, but, um, but anyways, happy coding, everybody. Bye.